Hey Bat fans, welcome back to Room 237, and I got another Batman book review for you. And this time I'm doing a book that I finished reading last night, and that is Batman Broken City, written by Brian Azzarello and art by Eduardo Risso. It collects Batman 620 to 625, so it came out shortly after Hush, right on the heels of Hush. And I believe this is the same creative team behind 100 Bullets. I know Azzarello wrote it. I think Rizzo did do the art. Probably what Azzarello is most known for. As for his Batman stuff, I mean, well, I was debating whether I want to say my opinion or list them off first, but I'm not the biggest fan of Azzarello's Batman stuff. Of course, he worked with Frank Miller on Dark Knight 3 and Last Crusade. He wrote the book Joker with Lee Bermejo on art. I really like Damned. I thought Damned was good. Joker, I liked the story. I felt like it was a little edgier than it needed to be, because that's sort of the thing with Azzarello. He's a much darker, more edgier kind of writer, which is why I think he works better in Hellblazer than in Batman. But a lot of people seem to like his Batman stuff. And this is very much a dark, gritty, street-level noir story. It is a murder mystery. Ultimately, I can say I liked it. I really liked the story. I liked the murder mystery. Some of the characterizations of Batman was definitely very Azzarello and not really what I liked. But basically, he's like, it starts off with him with Killer Croc. I mean, Killer Croc is sort of some sort of underworld kingpin. I mean, we see him with this leopard print and rings that spell out Croc, gold chain. He does wear a pimp hat, but he still acts like Killer Croc. Get the idea? He does bite and eat people. But this one woman was killed, Elizabeth Lupo. So he goes to look into it and check and look into her brother, Angel Lupo. But of course, when he does that, I think it was Angel, he finds Angel's girlfriend, Margot Farr. And there's even this conversation they have, like, 'cause she's laying in bed in lingerie, and she's saying I'm doing my job, and he's like, you know, yeah, you are. And pretty much all these sexual, like, double entendres are given back and forth to each other. I was just kind of like, all right. But Angel flees the scene, and when he does, there's a couple walking down the alley with their young son, and they're murdered, which of course is haunting, symbolic parallel to Batman in his life. So he goes into the case, and it's definitely interesting. You do want to keep reading to see what happens next. It is full of hooks. It's nice to... I do like these street-level stories. I mean, Long Halloween is my favorite comic book ever. I love Dark Victory. I loved Hush. The artwork is very much like if you mix Frank Miller and Dave Mazzucchelli. Just this gritty sort of noir look. There's one detective that he kind of works with, but not really. The scenes with him don't really tend to go anywhere. was it Detective Allen? I think that was his name. But anyway, I really like Azzarello's narratives. It has these very noir kind of metaphors. Like at one point, Batman's talking about the skyline with the clouds, and from a distance, you could swear it's like something to the effect of the sky over Gotham looks like it has jaws. Or he compares the rain to the wrath of God. And he's pretty much playing hopscotch to all these different all these different people and villains will lead him to a different person. One of which is Penguin. There's this one duo who I'm not sure if they're original to the story or if they've appeared before, but they're called Fat Man and Little Boy, even though a little boy is a girl. Keeps going back to meet up with Croc, and he even talks about his dentist because he keeps busting all his teeth out, having to go back to the dentist. And Batman is really driven to find Angel Lupo because obviously it looks like he did it. Looks like he killed his sister, ran off, killed the parents of that young boy. And that's really the driving force of the whole book, at least for Batman. And it does keep drawing parallels to Batman in his life. And then we even get an appearance of Arnold Wesker as the ventriloquist in Scarface, which I thought was really cool because there's not really a whole lot of stories that they're in or play a major role in anyway. And it's definitely a darker, grittier version of Batman. I mean, this is a kind of Batman who really seems to take pride and joy and glee in really beating up criminals and thugs. He even smiles a lot in this book while he's doing that. I mean, he's not, I wouldn't say it's as deep as like Frank Miller's All-Star Batman. It's not quite to that extreme. And of course, you get an appearance from the Joker, which doesn't really go anywhere. It really just feels like Joker was put there to help sell the book or help sell the last issue. And really all he does, supposedly, it says something about how these 3 patients reached up where the sun doesn't shine, pulled out their own intestines, and it'll keep happening until he goes to see Joker. And really all Joker does is kind of gloat about how Batman's been making all these mistakes, which that's another thing. Batman talks about his mistakes and how he's quick to react to assumptions rather than, I guess, anything else. I mean, he doesn't really do a whole lot of extreme detective work. It really is just interrogating people. And that's really all Joker was there for, just for that quick scene. And he even does, profess his love, which I think is another influence from Frank Miller. Because in Dark Knight Returns, he says Batman darling, which people look way too deeply into. Yeah, Joker talks about how he hears everything, sees everything. He knows all his Batman's exact movements. And all of his mistakes were surprises. I love surprises as much as I love you. And saying how Batman's in full denial. I guess I will talk about the ending, but I'm going to give a spoiler warning first. I can recommend this. I did think it was a very good mystery. It definitely had plenty of hooks to make you want to see what was going to happen next. The artwork is definitely suiting to the story. Again, it's like that perfect blend of... Well, I also thought it was reminiscent of Jock as well. Like Jock, Frank Miller, with like the Mazzucchelli noir kind of style. Just a lot of the characterizations of Batman, some of the stuff he says and does, I kind of disagree with. Like the sexual conversation with Margot Farr. But spoilers, we'll be getting into the ending. So basically, the ending is Angel is innocent. He did not kill his sister. He did not kill the boy's parents. His sister Elizabeth was dating someone or seeing someone, got pregnant. Angel's very protective of her, and if he found out she was pregnant, he would have gone after whoever was responsible. And whoever is responsible is a very, very powerful person. So Margot Farr hired Croc to kill... Which, when I read it, I didn't see it as she hired Croc, but I guess she did. She's responsible for killing Elizabeth Lupo. That way, he would never find out she was pregnant. Which does sound a little extreme. And if I'm not mistaken, what I got from the ending was the young boy killed his own parents. And which, when it's leading up to that point, we see the origin of Bruce, or of Batman, where his parents promised they'd take him to the movies, but, you know, business got in the way. You know, he talks about how Bruce was always jealous of business, because business always knocked him down a second in priority. So then he gave his parents the silent treatment. Then they agreed to take him to the movies, and he still gave him the silent treatment. And Batman is talking about how, you know, he created this so he could protect other young boys like that. And then he says, I did it for the wrong boy. Because when he goes to see him in the hospital, the boy pulls a gun on him. And it's the Carlito's Way scene. He's already emptied the gun. So yeah, the boy killed his own parents. Which I thought, okay, maybe they had nowhere to go with that story, or that part of the story, or it was supposed to be shocking, or because of the name Broken City, it's full of incredibly broken people, even at a young age. You don't see you only see Bruce Wayne for like a couple panels, but he talks about how Bruce is his mask and Batman is his true identity. Like when it rains, he looks at the puddle for his reflection, not for who he is, but for what he's created, and to make sure that's still who he is. And then that's where he says, you know, I did it for the wrong boy. So pretty sure it tried to say that the boy killed his own parents. And Angel Lupo was pretty much wrong place, wrong time for both cases. Definitely a noir story. I like how it's a street level book. There's not all these otherworldly or godly figures or battles he has to do. Really like the mystery. Always want to see what happens next. The artwork really fits the story. I think this has always been like an underrated book, probably because it came out right on the heels of Hush, which was wildly successful. But yeah, the only thing I had really any kind of gripes about would be sort of the characterization of Batman at some points, which I like that he makes mistakes as well. It kind of brings some humanity and levity to Batman. Not quite to the extent of Earth 1, where everything he does is a fuck up. But, you know, it's nice to once in a while see that he is still human and makes mistakes. And I just like the whole going from one person to another, you know, one step forward, two steps back. Oh, I didn't even say who's responsible for getting her pregnant. It's the ventriloquist. Arnold Wesker was the one that got Elizabeth Lupo pregnant. He was the all-powerful one that Angel should not have gone after if he found out she was pregnant. And there's even this cool moment where when Batman says his name to Arnold, he screams and shoots the gun like up in the air, and Batman notices like, okay, normally that's a Scarface reaction, his puppet. Scarface is the one that reacts that way, but now it's Arnold that's reacting that way. So this is very personal to him, or Angel Lupo is a very personal subject and person to him. So it all makes sense at the end. But all in all, I liked it. And yeah, I do think the Joker was put in there just to say, hey, I got the Joker in my story. Or, hey, you want to read stories with the Joker? Go check this out. Yeah, Batman Broken City is a pretty interesting, dark, gritty, noir story. I'd probably say one of the better Azzarello stories that I've read, at least for Batman. I still like Damned the best, but this one's pretty good as well. So, thanks for watching.